Yalabhana paro labho, yat sukhana parang sukham, yajnanana parang jnanam, tad brahmetyavadharayet. Yalabhat, from the attainment of which, na, not, aparaha, other, labhaha, attainment, yat sukhat, from the happiness of which, na, not, aparang, other, sukham, joyfulness, yajnanat, from the knowledge of which, na, not, aparang, other, jnanam, knowledge, had Brahma, that to be Brahman, iti, thus, avadharayet, realize. The attainment of that which leaves nothing more to be attained, the bliss of which leaves no more bliss to be desired, and the knowledge of which leaves nothing more to be known. Realize that to be Brahman. Namaste. So this Shloka 54 begins the end of Atma-bodha. And all these verses near the end with this same couplet, tad brahmetyavadharayet, that this Brahman should be realized, because this is the final goal of everything. Life, knowledge, religion, science, everything that can be conceptualized. This is the end. This is the ultimate. This is actually beyond anything that can be known or understood. So this is something we all want. Especially the mind wants a final goal to align with and to organize all the other thoughts. Once this final goal is understood, and in material life, it's like the one who dies with the most money or toys or houses or whatever power wins. So that seems to be the goal. But all those goals are temporary. They're conditioned. They're dependent on something else. Brahman is unconditioned. And it's independent. It doesn't rely on anything else. It's not supported by anything else. Indeed, the Brahman is the support of everything else. So, when we're advised, attain that which leaves nothing more to be attained, that is an ultimate, that is an absolute. That is a proper goal for human life. These other things are temporary, relative, conditioned, and so on. And these are not really satisfying to an intelligent mind. The bliss that leaves no more bliss to be desired, the overflowing bliss, rapture. Rapture means when bliss is so overflowing that there's no more room to desire any more bliss, because the bliss that there is fills up the whole mind and it just crowds out everything else. Overflowing. That's the kind of bliss we want. That goes from peak to peak, leaving nothing, no gaps, no empty spaces to be filled up with more bliss. That the bliss is not only as we desire, it's more than we desire, more than we can imagine. That's the bliss of Brahman. And the knowledge that knows everything and leaves nothing more to be known. That's Brahman. So if you're after happiness, if you're after knowledge, if you're after an attainment, a great accomplishment, that's Brahman. It can only be Brahman, because everything else is less satisfying, less great, less happiness, or less blissful, less knowledge, and so on. So this is what we want. We want this Brahman. And the Upanishads agree. This is his highest goal. This is his highest success. This is his highest world. This is his highest bliss. All other creatures live on a small fraction of that bliss. He who knows that highest Brahman becomes Brahman. Well, it's not that we become Brahman. We're already Brahman. But we just realize it. So this is the goal. This is the conclusion of Atma-bodhah, knowledge of the self, that the self is ultimately Brahman, and that one should recognize, not to become Brahman, but realize I am already Brahman. I have always been Brahman. I couldn't be anything else. Why? Because I'm conscious. Matter is never conscious. You will never get a conscious AI. It can simulate consciousness. It can maybe deceive you and make you think that it's conscious, but it's never going to actually be conscious. Why? Because the gift of consciousness begins with the original being, the Purusha, as we discussed in the last verse, Vishnu, the all-pervading consciousness. And being the first progenitor, he passes that consciousness down to all his descendants, beginning with Brahma, Lord Brahma. And then Lord Brahma creates all the other species, both human and non-human, and populates the universe, the galaxy, or whatever the scale of it is. Actually, the word that's translated universe in Sanskrit is Brahmanda. Brahmanda. Brahma Andaha. That which is derived from Brahman. So the scale of it is generally accepted to be a solar system, a star surrounded by planets and many, many layers of subtle worlds. We know now that the space around the sun is filled with the solar wind. And this can have many, many shapes depending on the magnetic field lines that surround the sun and the planets. So there is room for many, many shells of worlds of different density, more subtle than our world. And this is where the demigods live. This is where the perfected sages live. And also the demons. But their worlds are below the earth. We're not sure what that means, whether it's within the earth or on some kind of a lower frequency of vibration or whatever it means. They are inferior. Their intelligence is stunted. And we see many examples now in Kali Yuga of human beings who have demoniac intelligence. I mean, just look at the news every night. People who are attracted to power are generally of demoniac nature. They like to control. They like to hurt others. And this is wrong. This is evil, actually. Those who are of a good nature, of the nature of gods, they live only for the benefit of others. They have a very exalted mind and heart, and they do no others harm. They simply radiate the wisdom that comes from realization of the Vedas. And the idea is that others who tune into that, who through prayer, meditation, and devotion worship the gods and the higher species, the higher entities, and then gradually become like them. And in their future births, they go to them. This was the subject of the very first book I read by my spiritual master, my Adi Guru, Srila Prabhupada. It was called Easy Journey to Other Planets. And basically the message is, you don't have to build big rockets and waste all these resources trying to go to the moon. Huh? As an unenlightened soul, you're going to go to the moon anyway. That's what's taught in Brahma Sutra. Or to go to another planet, a higher planet than the moon, you can worship the demigod that controls that planet. And then at the time of death, his messengers come and escort you to his realm. So this is the real space travel. This is the real colonization, or the gateway, or whatever kind of science fiction term you want to use, to travel from one space to another, to travel from a human space to a higher space where there's nothing left to be attained.
Om Tat Sat, Om Shakti